How you doing, everybody? Nakapan here with the Black Belt Business Union, connecting martial arts schools and unifying our industry. Today, our topic is going to be PPP Forgiveness. I recently got an email from my banker telling me that the portal was open and they invited me to go ahead and fill it all out and put in the information in, okay? And while that seems like a great thing to do right now, especially to get it off your list of things to do that I'm sure you have so many of, you might want to put a little hold on that, okay? And I'm going to explain to you why that is. Now, disclaimer first, I am a CPA in the state of Virginia, but I am not your CPA. So all the information that I'm providing to you is for entertainment purposes only. Do with it what you will. Okay, now let's get into the topic, all right? So I've been telling everybody, all my martial arts friends, business school friends, that we should probably wait a little bit to file the forgiveness. And there's going to be a lot of reasons why. And just kind of take you back on some of the facts for the forgiveness. Right now, my lender has opened up the portal. So they have to basically create a website for you to go ahead and put this information in. Now, a lot of you probably got round 2. So this kind of applies to both round 1 and round 2. But in addition, to create some confusion, the SBA has also created their own portal for you to go ahead and put your information in there. Now, there is a learning curve on there. Apparently, there's a lot of confusion around that. So I would recommend that you go to your lender's portal and enter your forgiveness information there. If you've already gotten PPP 1, at this point, you've probably already applied for forgiveness for your first round loan. I saw some of the statistics. That was like 46%. I think that's what it was of everybody who got PPP round 1 has already filed the forgiveness. I think we're at right now past the deadline. So, but that's not to get you scared about round 2. Round 2, you still have plenty of time. And the reason why I'm telling you to wait is because you have basically 10 months after the 24-week covered period. What is that? Well, if you get the money, PPP round 2, you have 24 weeks or 8 weeks to spend all that money. I don't know why anybody would pick 8 weeks. You probably want as much time as you can. So after that's basically boils out to about 6 months. After 6 months, you then have 10 months to file for forgiveness. Just to remind you about how the money is spent, you can spend 60% on payroll and up to 40% on qualified business expenses. For instance, like utilities, rent, mortgage interest, these types of things. Generally, I think a lot of people just go ahead and put 100% in payroll. It's a lot easier to track. And as an example, if you got this money on April 1st, let's just say either PPP, let's just call it PPP 2 at this point, April 1st, 2021, you would have to spend all this money by October 1st. So however much money you got, you spend by October 1st, right? And after that date, you would then have 10 months to file for forgiveness, okay? And that boils down to about August 1st, 2022. So you see, you still have a lot of time, almost like a year. If you got your money on April 1st, you basically have a year left to file everything. So don't get worried about it at this point, but I would recommend, at least for me, I'm going to wait a little bit, okay? And why are we waiting? Well, there's going to be a lot of reasons why. One, we just don't know what's happening from day to day. Every day, something new comes out, some kind of new rule, some kind of new law, some kind of clarification. So not filing allows you to be a little bit flexible and kind of like go with the flow, so to speak. Okay, so one of the biggest reasons why, and this is just a little picture of government credits that you might get. There's a lot of government credits that you can get right now, right? There's the Paycheck Protection Program, which is now out of money, gave us basically 2.5% of our average monthly payroll. 3.5 if you're in the restaurant industry, so you got a little bit more. We don't get as much because we don't really have one voice. We don't have a big lobby working for the martial arts and fitness industry, which is one of the reasons why we created this Black Belt Business Unit to bring everybody together. Okay, getting off track here, but you can get round 1, and there were some rules you needed to abide by in order to be eligible for round 2, PPP. Now, in addition to that, there's also Employee Retention Tax Credit. I've been talking a lot about this. Look into it if you haven't already. I mean, it's $5,000 for every employee in 2020. It's up to $28,000 for every employee in 2021. It's a huge amount of money. It's in the form of tax credits. You don't have to file anything, and basically your payroll company does it for you. So look into that. And there's also one more called the Families First. I can't say the rest of it because for some reason when you say those words, YouTube blocks your video. So we're just gonna call it the Families First, which is the first 2 letters of the abbreviation. And basically what that allows you to do is get 10 days of sick leave for anything having to do with the situation that we're in right now, and also gives you credits for if you have to take care of somebody who has also tested positive for that. Okay. Now, there's a lot of other programs. I also mentioned the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Like, this is a huge thing right now for a 3.75% loan, dirt cheap, 30-year payback period. So it's basically like paying a mortgage. I recommend everybody do that, and I provided this guide to government grants you can get, and you can request it and download it at the two websites below, www.blackbeltbusinessunion.com. Right there you can get tools and products to help you grow your martial arts school. And also, if you go to our blackbeltbusinessunion.org, that's our free community. It's almost like social media platform that's not social media outside of Facebook, because I hate Facebook. I encourage you to join that. It's free and get information on there. I usually post videos like this and information there as well. So again, let's just recap. There's three reasons really why you want to be careful about filing your Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness right now. And one is the allocation of credits. I showed you that there's so many different programs, and so therefore, like, you want to make sure that you can apply for others. And the reason why I showed you that was because let's just take you back, okay, so you can look at it one more time. If you can only, and this is the rule, these are the rules right now, you can only put the money in one bucket. So if it's PPP money, it belongs in the PPP bucket. If you get ERTC credits, it's that money that you get for PPP that you're allocating for that stays in the PPP, particularly if you applied for forgiveness already. It's like locked in, right? It's a kind of like sets that amount in stone. And I say that because right now, what it boils down to is that you cannot have more credits. You can't have more government money. You can't have more government assistance than you do have expense. Okay, so if you got more money from the government and you didn't really spend it, now you have an issue, right? So by holding off on the PPP, you give yourself the flexibility to allocate that money however you want to allocate it. Okay, and by reporting it, again, is that like you can't change it. It's set in stone. So basically, you've committed your funds into that bucket, and I want you to be able to get as much money as you can right now, and make sure that you don't exclude yourself from anything in the future. Okay, because we don't know what's coming down the line. We might get additional stimulus. I don't think so. A fourth line, a fourth draw, fourth whatever you want to call it, help. It might come, it might not come, but you also want to be able to make sure that you can apply for it and not set yourself in a position where it's not possible to get anything else coming down the line. Now, I used an example here because things change every day. It's almost like it's hard to remember. But if you think back to when you got PPP 1 back in 2020, there was a lot of concern about this money because whatever you got from the government, you basically couldn't report on your taxes as an expense, right? Because the idea that that the IRS said was that they gave you this money and you're not reporting it as income, but by reporting that you spent this money in payroll and then putting that on your taxes, you essentially be double dipping. You're not reporting income and you get to take a deduction for however you spent that money that they gave you. And so all these financial professionals, all the accountants, all the CPAs were like, hey, IRS, like, what should we do here? Because we're getting close to the filing deadline and people aren't filing right now because they're nervous about what you're going to say about this money. So we're waiting. And it came out later on towards the end of the year as people were preparing their returns. They said, you know what? The IRS said, you don't have to worry about that. You can report the expense and you don't have to report it as income. So essentially, business owners got the double dip on the benefit of getting the Paycheck Protection Program money. But everybody was nervous up until that point. And so I say that again to say that by waiting, you become more flexible in the sense of what you can do depending upon what the government decides to do. All right. So we got plenty of time. As I said, we got about August 1st. If you got your money on April 1st, 2021, you got till August 1st, 2022. So there's no rush to do that. And I hope this was helpful to you. And if you have any more questions, please go ahead and put them in the comments below. Also, please join our free business union to connect the martial arts industry. And you can go there at blackbeltbusinessunion.org. And I'll see you later.